Did you know the best-selling console of all time is the PlayStation 2, which sold 155 million units globally? Welcome to Professionally Casual Gamers, the podcast where two friends kick back after a long work week and casually talk about everything gaming. I'm your host, Ralph, joined by my co-host, Alex.
Hey man, how's it going?
Not too bad, not too bad. How are you?
Well, to be honest, we're not running at 100% today. I was at a wedding yesterday. It was a lot of fun, maybe even too much fun. Shout out to one of my best friends, Brendan. Great time. Really happy for you again. Basically, dance floor. Obviously, I was killing it per usual. But once Mr. Brightside came on, I knew we were in for a good night, a long night. But yeah, happy to be here. Always happy to be here with you, talk about video games, everything going on in the news. Happy to be here. Yeah,
no, that's really awesome. Well, once again, congratulations, Brendan. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your marriage. So congrats to you. Thanks to everyone that tuned in to our very first episode. We're really grateful and for the love and the support that you've shown Alex, me, and our podcast. All 42 of you are the OGs. So thank you to everyone. Speaking of our video game podcast, let's talk video games. Alex, what are you playing?
Let's do it. Let's talk about it. Still playing, chugging along through Paper Mario. I briefly talked about it last time, touching over the community, some of the battle aspects. I finally figured out what coins do. I still have an overabundance of them.
What do they do?
So basically with the coins, you can just buy battle items. Okay. That's all I've seen, at least, so far.
What are battle items? Are they like HP or...?
Yeah, so you can buy like restorative items, like mushrooms. You can get like a fire flower. You can get like iron boots, because some of the enemies... So, like the classic Mario enemies, where they have like... They're kind of like the Koopas, but they have like spikes on them. So you can't jump on them with your... as a normal attack, you need to use the iron boots. So the items that you get and you can buy with the coins, they break after a while. So that's kind of where it comes into play, where you need the coins to always re-up on your inventory. So it's pretty good. Again, it's a chill game. It's fun. If I was traveling more, I would totally just, always pop that in my bag, and then I could play it and be pretty entertained by it for a while. The story is... It's nothing too crazy, right? Not breaking any new grounds. But again, the huge factor that I'm loving, and I think a lot of people can kind of back me up on this, is the wit and charm in the game itself. The toads, dude, I gotta tell you, the toads are sassy in that game. Dude, they give you a lot of lip. It's actually hilarious, because toads are like these meme characters. They always get like picked on in the series, I feel like. So now they're like... they're just like standing up for themselves. They're like verbally, like being sassy back to you. It's fun seeing them in this environment, and especially in like a Mario game. It's a fun time. Again, nothing like too crazy. The battles are fun. They've gotten a little more challenging, I feel like, but nothing too stressful. And dare I say, the battle music. The battle music kind of hits, dude. Dare I say it's better than Last Surprise from Persona 5? No. I'm 100% memeing you there.
Okay. I was about to fight.
If you have a chance, like just listen to the battle music for a little bit, I would recommend it. It's like, okay, this is kind of cool. I could even though the battles aren't significant, you don't really, because again, I haven't gotten experience from battles yet. You just get coins, but you get coins for like literally everything.
Yeah.
The puzzle battles are fun. You have the music, so like it's just like a good time.
That's cool.
It's a game that after you have like a long day or like a stressful day and you just kind of want to unwind and kick back, I would totally recommend Paper Mario Origami King.
Very cool. How far are you in the game?
There's like 6 bosses or like areas, because you can see like pipes where you can like teleport to different areas. So I've done 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm planning on playing more. Had a pretty busy weekend with the wedding. So, and I want to play, but then I always see you on Avengers. I'm like, well, I'm already behind.
We'll definitely talk about that later.
Yeah, we definitely will.
Well, is Paper Mario Origami King something that you're planning on finishing at least, or?
Yeah, I think I'd like to. I think I'd like to see it through the end. The boss battles are fun. They're creative. So I think when I do more, I can touch on that.
So it's going to be part of your end credits club?
Sure, yeah.
Not part of the backlog? That's not bad. That's cool.
And I feel bad because whenever I boot it up, because on the Switch, it shows like, and on the PS4 menu, it shows like what your recent titles are. And I always see Xenoblade Chronicles as third.
That's like a 200-hour game.
I know. It's still there. And I'd like physically remove the cartridge and put in Paper Mario. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Shulk. I want to say I will eventually finish Xenoblade Chronicles, but I just don't know. It is a long game.
The problem with those games, too, is very similar to other RPGs, right? If you stop playing, you're kind of screwed because you're going to jump into the game and you're not going to know what you did last, so you're probably gonna end up restarting it, right?
Yeah, and I would like, when I do, knock on wood, eventually jump back into Xenoblade Chronicles, I'd like to talk about it more, and hopefully get some of our viewers and listeners' opinions on it too, because people know him from Smash, and he's kind of like a meme character, right?
Yeah.
It's like, why is this Japanese anime character having a British accent? He's shirtless, he's yelling back scratch at people, but he's actually portrayed very differently in the game. But I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now. So Paper Mario, I do plan on finishing it. Especially so, again, per last episode, my sister's lending it to me, so I'd like to sit down and have a conversation with her about it. I think that'd be cool.
Let's have her on the show.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be cool. She's a casual gamer, right? She kind of fits the tea, right?
I like it. Are you playing anything else?
Besides Avengers, no. I am considering jumping back into Kingdom Hearts 3. For those of you who don't know, the Kingdom Hearts series it's kind of something magical. Right, and I'm not just saying that because of the inclusion of Disney characters. It's made by Square Enix. It's very popular for the Final Fantasy series that they made. And they said, hey, Final Fantasy has great characters. Disney has great characters. So what if we combine those two, right? Insert the meme of, what is this, a crossover episode? Basically. And I mean, just adding those two properties together, you're going to come into some cool stuff. And the games are good. The third one had a lot of criticism behind it. One of which is that it was very easy. Another is that the story was just very convoluted. So, the general formula of the Kingdom Hearts series is you play through these Disney worlds.
Right.
You get to interact with some of your favorite Disney characters, which is awesome, right? And then all this kind of builds up to Kingdom Hearts' own organic storyline. And right now I'm in the Tangled world. Tangled is one of my favorite Disney movies. It's good. It's not perfect in my opinion. I would love to have a Disney conversation with some of our fans. So definitely DM us for that. So it's good. And it's cool seeing the characters in this different light, right? We only know them through the movies. So being able to play with them through the eyes of Sora, the main character, is cool.
So why'd you stop playing? Does something come up, or?
I think a new game came out. I don't remember which one. I got it kind of late because of all the criticisms.
Get it on sale?
I literally got it on sale for $12 on Amazon. So I'm like, okay, I can definitely just throw down $12 to pick Kingdom Hearts 3. The battle system is super fun though. It's not, when you think of Japanese role-playing games or JRPGs, you think of turn-based, kind of like Pokemon. It is honestly the opposite of that. If you did have the chance to play Final Fantasy 15 or 7 Remake, it's similar to that. Very much action-oriented, non-stop action. A lot of, you interact with the environment too in these battles. So there's a lot of stuff. There's more than one way. There's several ways to approach fights. And yeah, it's really creative what you can do with it. So I might, and the reason I'm thinking about jumping back into it is because they announced a new Kingdom Hearts game, which is coming out in November.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I don't remember the name. It's a rhythm game. It's a low-key sequel to Kingdom Hearts 3.
So there's it's part of the canon? Or?
It is part of the canon. You play as Kairi, one of the other main characters. And so, rhythm game, you kind of think of Guitar Hero, Rock Band. This is kind of similar in the sense of the Persona Dancing All Night games. I did play Persona 5 Dancing in the Starlight, which was really fun. They don't really go ham with the story because they know, okay, you're here for the great soundtrack and the character interactions.
Which is better than Paper Mario or Origami King.
Yeah. You're funny. It is. I'm totally messing with you. So the Kingdom Hearts series has great music. They have great original songs, and also I'm expecting some of the Disney songs to come back for this too. So rhythm games, if you did have a chance to look at some of our Instagram posts, that was on my little parameter for the stat sheet, and I like them. They're fun games. I'm not crazy. I'm not going to like the hardest difficulty and like mashing my like face on the controller or anything like that from like Guitar Hero. They're fun though. Good music. It's fun gameplay. It's different. You don't really see those often. So So especially since it's linked to Kingdom Hearts 3, I'd like to finish that in before jumping into the next game.
No, that's totally cool. Are you planning on restarting Kingdom Hearts 3 or
I wasn't
the beginning, or are we just
crazy far into it? Okay. I think I was like 10 hours. I'm playing on critical mode.
Oh.
Which is, because they had the criticism of like, this is too easy. So they're like, okay, well, here you go then. Everything like 3-shots you. And then, so Sora always has 2 companions with him, usually Donald and Goofy. I think sometimes you can change them out for like whatever game you're in. So you can get like Flynn Rider in the Tangled world, for example. Actually, no, I think it's Rapunzel. It's Rapunzel. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they just get obliterated. Okay. Like every time you join a fight, you just hear Goofy howl in pain as he gets like one shot. And it's low-key funny, but it's also like, all right, man, come on, you can do better.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's awesome. Is there anything else you're playing? Well, obviously we're playing Avengers, and we'll get to that later, but anything else?
No, just those.
Cool. Yeah, for me, I am still playing Persona 5. Since we last had the podcast, I think I clocked in another 10, 12 hours, which I don't even know how I'm doing. It's kind of magic. But
that is like such a minor amount of time in the grand scheme of things for Persona 5. Right. Normally, like that 10 to 12 hours is normally a whole game. Right. But not in this case.
Yeah, Persona 5 is still probably one of my favorite games. I'm getting closer to the extra content that Persona 5 Royal has, so I'm really excited to start jumping back into it. Every time I play Persona 5, it looks like time just disappears for some reason.
Yeah. The mark of a good game.
Right, yeah, because there is just a really good cadence with the game where you go into the dungeons and fight some enemies, and then you do the slice of life stuff where you hang out with your fake friends.
Your fake friends.
Yeah. Increasing, your relationship with them. So it's really good. And it's definitely something that, has a really good, timing for the game. So I'm definitely going to try and finish that as much as I can. I'm really trying to burn through that game before all the new games come out, because I will be screwed if I stop it at any time.
It would be hard to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, you can't just tackle it in an afternoon. It's a time commitment.
Yeah, for sure.
To say the least.
The other thing that I did start jumping back into, because I am also getting married, so I am playing Ring Fit Adventure again. I checked it out this weekend. It's still super fun. There are some issues with the game that I do want to point out.
Cool. So, yeah, because actually I'm really interested in hearing about this, because fall's here, which means winter's around the corner.
And COVID.
And COVID, obviously. So we're in the Midwest. Brutal winters. Absolutely brutal winters. So the idea of, hey, I can still get a solid workout in using my Nintendo Switch, and, it's also a video game, so it's fun in that aspect. It just definitely piqued my interest. I think it retails at like $80. Is that right?
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of different places that have been selling them aftermarket.
So I like Facebook Marketplace, maybe.
They've been super sold out.
Yeah.
So I know that when everyone was in quarantine, when it all first started out, I know Ring Fit Adventure was going for $200, which is crazy to me, because that's like the cost of a console.
And if no one is completely familiar with Ring Fit Adventure, if you remember back to like the Wii balance board, right, or like Wii Sports, Wii Boxing, all these kind of, I'll call them gimmicks to get the player base more active. This is like their next iteration of it on the Switch. And do you want to explain like the apparatus they use to help you?
So yeah, like Alex was saying, Ring Fit Adventure is essentially a fitness game. It's a mixture of workouts that is grouped in with RPG mechanics. Mm-hmm. So as you work out, you level up your character, you do more damage to these weird enemies, right? They're really fun and they use a lot of puns.
There's like this gargoyle guy who like he's like a total bro. He's like a Chad or something. Yeah.
So essentially, you are given a bunch of workouts, be it leg presses or ab crunches, or warrior pose yoga, depending on what kind of workout you want to do. And each of those types of workouts, be it they have this workout where you're using this peripheral that they have, which is the Wii Fit wheel. It's essentially a Pilates ring, if you guys know what that looks like. So it's like a ring that you have and you attach the Joy-Con there, and it has some haptic feedback and takes the actions that you have on the wheel and inputs it into the game. So depending on what type of workout you're doing, it'll do certain damage to the enemies to the game. So if you're doing front presses with the Ring Fit, it'll hit red enemies stronger. But if you're doing warrior pose, which is the yoga stuff, it'll hit green enemies stronger. And then they'll do some AoE ones where it can hit multiple enemies. It can hit.
So they want you to differentiate. Correct. And not just skip leg day. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely like that. It'll kick your ass.
I've heard. That's what I've heard.
It's definitely a workout. I needed to up the difficulty a little bit. And the difficulty.
Wow.
No. It's not that, because
you're cut, dude. You're buff.
Not even close. Dude, why would I be doing an adventure if I was cut or buff? But because the difficulty is not really about, it's increasing weight or increasing the resistance, because there's only so much you can do with the ring. It just increases the amount of reps. So, So it essentially, the reason I wanted to increase the difficulty is because it allows you to increase the heart rate of your workout, right? So, with more reps, with less, rest, your heart rate goes up. What's cool about the game, it'll actually check there's a heart rate monitor. So after a session.
How do they gauge your heart rate? With the Joy-Cons?
Yeah. So after the workout, there's an IR motion camera at the bottom of your Joy-Cons, if you didn't know it had that. So you'll put your thumb on it, and it'll tell you how much your heart rate was, if you're like in the red zone or the yellow zone or the green zone, if people know what that is. That's essentially how hard you're working out. So it's cool. Not bad. It's very super cool. I like it. I do have an issue with it. So I like the workout part of the game, and I like the RPG mechanics of the game, but there's a story mission in the game where you fight the big dragon buff Chad guy.
The gargoyle dude.
Yeah. So one thing that really bugs me about the game that I just totally forgot until I started playing it this weekend is, so you'll do your special move, right? Be it squats, be it leg presses or your arm squeezes or things like that. If you kill the enemy, before the set is done, the set just finishes. So it really bugs me that, like, if I'm about to kill the enemy and I do one squeeze of the Joy-Con and then my arm set is done. So I don't finish a set of 25 instead of doing 25 reps of the set. 25 squeezes, I guess.
So it can shorten your workout. Correct. When you want to get more out of it. Okay.
Right. So I want to finish the entire set. So it really bugs me because that I'm thinking like, well, I'm not getting the right, these aren't the right things that you can do. The thing you can do with Ring Fit Adventures, you can do your own workouts on it. You can set your own workouts where you can do arms or legs or things like that. But I did want to finish the story. So that's one thing about the story that bugs me, that I can't finish whatever I wanted to do.
Do they have a feature where it plans out, okay, today you're going to do X, Y, and Z workout. Tomorrow you're going to, a calendar for you?
Maybe.
Like a workout
I haven't really
schedule?
Looked too deep into it because I did want to try and do the main story mission first. I bet they do, but you might need to set it yourselves. Because I have PlayStation VR, and one thing that I do like doing there is box VR. Because I like the box and stuff. And you can set a schedule for you for the week. And maybe you can do the same thing with Ring Fit Adventure. They did add a new system or a new game mode. It's essentially a rhythm game, like a fitness rhythm game.
Oh, nice. There you go.
I haven't had a chance to look into it yet, but I am looking forward to playing that once I have some more time.
Cool. I honestly, that's a game that has gotten great feedback. I know, the Wii Balance Board back in the day, it was, I don't know, I don't think it got like terribly good feedback. I think it was kind of just like, I don't think people were too crazy over it. But like whenever I hear people talk about Ring Fit or their experiences with it, it is generally like pretty positive. Like I went into this thinking like it'd just be like, maybe I'll get like my heart rate up, whatever. But then you start doing it, you're like, damn, I'm sore.
Yeah,
what is going on?
You're sweating. I was definitely sweating. I did it for roughly half an hour, and I was definitely sweating. It's just a different type of workout. It's really good. So if you're not looking to go to the gym, or if you're not looking to go outside because you want to be safer, healthy, right?
Or you just don't want to go outside.
or that. This is definitely a good alternative to stay active, and it shows because a lot of these units are sold out everywhere.
Cool. Yeah, and I mean, you just gotta love when Nintendo innovates like this. Like even if it isn't for you, it's cool to see in the industry, right? People just a company straying away from the norm like that. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they make an RC car based on Mario Kart. It's cool one way or another. Gotta hand it to them. For
sure. Well, on that note, I know we're both playing Avengers.
We sure are. One of us a little more than the other, and emotional cheating, Ralph.
See, I don't know how I feel about the term emotional cheating. How is that emotional cheating? So Alex has an issue because he will jump on, and I would have been playing maybe an hour or two on that day, and in his head, stop playing, I need to catch up.
Yeah, fans, what you need to know is I'm a firm believer that communication is the most important part in a relationship. So I would text Ralph, hey Ralph, I think I'm going to hop onto Avengers around like 7. Do you want to play? And then he'll reply back, I'm already on. I've been playing today. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, what level are you? It's like, oh, I'm like power level 90 or whatever. And my Captain America sitting at like power level 45. I'm like, well, okay.
Okay, first and foremost, you've essentially caught up, right? Because
just almost.
The way the game has been made, it throttles the amount of power you get at the end of the game. So you can catch up as much as you want. Also, where that text told me, Ralph, stop playing the game. Don't play the game.
Because I wanted to catch up. I mean, like regardless of like when I do play with Ralph, I get my booty smacked.
See, but
straight up. I get like 2 shot.
All right, listeners. See, here's the problem with that though. That's not even my fault because he says, "Oh, I get my booty snapped whenever playing with Ralph." It's the game's fault. It's not my fault. The mission that we go on, I always tell Alex, "Hey, Alex, make sure you pick the mission because then it'll be at your power level." But for some reason, he still dies. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. I will totally admit I am not. You're better at that game than me for sure.
I don't know. It's because I played a lot of Destiny and all those type of games. So I know
it's kind of up your alley.
But the game's not hard though. Like
okay, thanks, man.
No, well, but on that note, are you still enjoying it?
I am still enjoying it. Because even when I am, getting my butt kicked incessantly by some of these bosses, we're still just hanging out. Like, we're still on the PlayStation party chat. It's cool.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's like, okay, we're still making progress in our characters. It's cool. The missions aren't, like, crazy good. Like, we've run over this, like, Did we play this map before? Do we do this mission already? Because some of the environments are literally just copy and pasted, and the objectives for the missions usually aren't crazy different. Sometimes when it's just like, you're fighting a boss, that's cool, right? Straight into the action. That boss is going to be different than another one. But when, you're just running through the map, either like freeing some of the Inhumans or like shutting down the power sources, whatever. It's, they reuse and recycle those objectives on top of the map. So I'm doubling down on the statement I had last week where I said, if you're just playing this alone, I would not throw down $60 for it. I think I've very much solidified on that viewpoint. But, I'm not alone. I'm playing with you. We're here talking about it. Yeah, so I am having fun with it.
That's cool. Well, how long do you think you're going to keep on playing the game? Right. So
yeah, and I've gone back and forth with that too. I do want to get the platinum.
Ooh,
I'm a trophy hunter. I love it's definitely like a huge drive for me when I play games is to get the platinum trophy. This one is going to be a little time consuming because you need the character level, a sum character level. So across X amount of characters to be 250. So that'll be a little tough.
Well, they also have the villain sectors. I don't know if you saw that. So I believe it's beat 50 villain sectors. So that essentially entails,
and you get like 2 a day.
Yeah, so that you need to play 25 days straight.
At least, yeah.
Right.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
That's not crazy. I think the character level trophy will be the hardest one. But they're also coming out with more characters, so that will be easier as time goes on. But I like what they did with the story. I love Avengers. I love Marvel. So I want to do this game the service by getting the platinum trophy. That's kind of my mindset. Like the Final Fantasy VII Remake and 15, I'm like, I love these games. I'd be doing them a disservice if I did not get the platinum. So I'll do it. And yeah, you fans will be the first ones to know.
Yeah, no. So
how about you? How long do you think you'll stick with this game?
Well, it really depends. There's a lot of new games coming out. That's one. I'm very much looking forward to the new consoles. There's a lot of games coming out in October, November. So it'll be a little bit scary to see how long I can keep it up. Because I will definitely be pulled away from the game. That is definitely a guarantee. This is the type of game that does tend to hook me. I do love looters. I love looter shooters.
Yeah, that's why you play without me.
That's not it. It's just my type. It's just my type of game. And I like being able to optimize my characters and grinding them up. It's very close to why I like RPGs too. So
yeah, it's cool how every character can be played in a different way, and I don't mean that in the sense that Hulk is different than Thor. That's obvious. Meaning that one Thor can play totally different than another Thor based on how they spec into. As you level up, you can upgrade and prioritize different abilities and kind of active and passive abilities from your character. So that is totally to curate what kind of play style you want, which is very cool. I think that offers some replayability and a lot of thought on your end and maybe research of how you want to play and what is the best way you should go about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. So you're not typically a looter kind of person, right? I know you do.
Not really.
And stuff like that. You're not playing games as a service. How do you feel about the grinding? About the in the game? Is that something that's been bugging you? Is it too slow for you, or is it just right? Because I know a lot of people don't typically like the grindy part about these type of games. I'm curious to see
so
what
the
you think
grind is it's called the grind, right? To the top, like for that reason. It's not supposed to be the most fun aspect of it. Some people love it. I was a WoW player for a little bit, so I'm familiar with the concept, grinding to the top, and then you need to go through these raids and says to get the best gear. But that's the most fun part, right? And the grind is okay just because, again, like we're literally just hanging out when we play. So it makes it doable, right? And then we can run through the missions together. So even though they're a little boring, I'm not doing it alone, so it's fine. We kind of touched on matchmaking last week. It's still not good. It might be a little better. I don't know. If I wait like 5 minutes, I can consistently get one person out of a full party of 4.
Right.
So it is not by any stretch of the imagination good or okay. It might be a little better. I don't know. But even having like the one other human player makes a huge difference. 100%.
Yeah. I am excited though, because I believe in the next couple of weeks, they will be dropping some of the end game stuff. The Elite Hives, which is essentially different levels of enemies floor by floor. And then I think there's secret labs. I don't really know what that is, but I think it's a dungeon. But I am really excited to check those out once those drop. That's why I've been trying to get my Black Widow, my main character, to 150 as much as I can. It's weird because In the game, you can easily get to 130 power level 130 through your gear at a normal pace. But then they'll start throttling your experience. It's not even a gear grind. It's more along the lines of a resource grind. So you'll need to, the way that the game works is that you'll get to power level 130 with your gear. So whatever it drops. And then you can add 10 power to your power level. So in order to increase the level of your equipment or of your items, you need to upgrade them with resources, and the upgrade modules is really what kills you, because it'll start out with 5 upgrade modules, but by the time you hit, increase it to 8 or 9, it'll be 30 upgrade modules or 20 upgrade modules, and it
gets harder to upgrade your equipment the more you do it. But you need to get to the max to get to the highest level. And I think anyone who's familiar with Destiny, other looters, game and service like this, you'll understand the grind. I like Monster Hunter, similar to.
I don't know if I like it though, because with the other shooters, right? You can look out and get the right gear piece that you want, but with the upgrade modules, you definitely are throttled. You definitely are slowed down because you can only get them through, I believe, some limited quest rewards, and then you can get them from the villain sectors, and then you can only get 2 villain sectors a day. So you won't get enough. There's just no way. So if you're trying to power level as fast as you can, I'd say slow down. Just wait until you get to 130, because once 130 hits, you'll need those resources to even get to the 150 power cap.
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely. I don't know. I haven't been reading the subreddit at all to get all the communities.
That's why you're not at my level.
Oh, so you have been? You've been on the Reddit?
I've been on YouTube videos. Okay. Because one thing that I checked in on is when you fight a villain sector, you get these things called DNA keys, which I guarantee you don't even know what those are for.
No, I don't.
Right. So with the DNA keys, you get them from beating the villains from the villain sectors. You get those DNA keys, and throughout different maps or the vault sectors, there'll be these things called DNA caches or DNA strong boxes. From there, you can use the DNA keys to open those strong boxes, and they will give you upgrade modules.
Oh, okay. Right.
So cool. They, depending on the difficulty that you have it, it's roughly 10 to 15 per villain sector. So, but what I mean, they throttle the power that you can get. That's essentially 30 upgrade modules a day, which is definitely not enough.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, if it is getting, a little stale or difficult if you're finding yourself kind of capped at leveling for that day at least, it's incentive, to start another character for sure. And it's I guess an important thing to note is the combat doesn't feel stale to me. It's not super complex or intricate. I think speccing your character can be, but when you actually are playing the game and doing the missions, the actual fighting part, which is largely the majority of the gameplay, it's still really fun. At least I've only really played as Captain America. I think in the story I did a lot of Kamala, Miss Marvel. Yeah. I thought she was fun too, but I was I'm a big Captain America fan. I the shield is sick, bro. Yeah. I love the shield. So yeah, and he has a running Spartan kick. His dashing triangle heavy attack is just a Spartan kick, and I'm okay, yes. He knows. He gets me. So yeah, I like him. Having a lot of fun with his play style and just the action in general with it. Yeah. So how long do you think you're gonna be playing this game though? Do you think you'll come back every now and then when they have new releases?
Definitely will be. I'm curious to see what the end game is.
Yeah, me too.
Because these games that's what we're playing for. Live and die for their end game. So if the end game is bad or garbage, it's not going to last. So hopefully they figured out something really good.
They need to have better matchmaking too. Right. Because there's no way we're going to jump into the end game with 2 other AI. Mm-hmm. We would get crushed. We would probably get crushed.
See, with the end game, with other games like these, I don't think they allow that you don't have a full party. So that would be a
possible.
Good. Yeah, so
that'd be a good policy.
Require, even if it's 2 other random people, or maybe we need to go through looking for group. We'll definitely need those other 2 people because we'll want them there.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, on that note, it looks like we're really busy with a lot of the games we're playing. And it looks like the gaming world won't be slowing any time soon. There's a lot of news to talk about this week. Definitely a lot. Let's talk about it. Where do you want to start today?
Okay, so I think everyone wants to know, everyone's talking about it. The Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S announcement. Those are going to be so annoying to say over and over in this episode. I might just call the Xbox S and the Xbox X.
Yeah, so
which is still long.
For sure. Yeah. So to start off for our listeners, the Xbox Series X, which is the new console, and the Xbox Series S, which was recently announced, the weaker version of that console. They priced it, they gave us the pre-order, and they announced when it will be launching. So for your information, pre-orders for the Xbox Series X and the Series S will start on September 2nd, and the console's release dates are on November 10th. The high-end console, which is the Series X, will cost $499, and the Series X will cost $299 at launch, which is really amazing. The bigger deal that I think people really need to watch out for, and Sony is definitely in a pickle because this is really good. They are doing a thing called Xbox All Access.
Yeah.
What that essentially does is it'll give you the opportunity to do a payment plan for your console. So for a period of 24 months, the X will be $34.99 a month, and the S will be $24.99 a month. But it includes 24 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. For people that don't know what that is, it is essentially their Netflix service.
They really are doubling down the idea of becoming the Netflix, Hulu of the gaming world, which is, it's huge, especially nowadays. I think people definitely prefer that sort of payment style, lifestyle.
Yeah,
so.
And I have Xbox Game Pass on my PC, and the type of games on there, you think that they'd be old games or games that you don't really want to play.
As a dominant Sony gamer, we have PS Now, which people are wait, what? I have a PS4. Yeah. I didn't even know about PS Now. Yeah, there's a reason for that.
Yeah, Xbox Game Pass, any Halo games.
It's huge.
So all of their launch games, or at least for the Xbox ones, they're going to be on that service. So you don't need to buy a $60 game at launch because you already have all these games available to you. And the nail in the coffin for this deal, if the other thing too, is that it'll come with EA Play. People that don't know what EA Play is, it's EA's version of Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone, you get Netflix, you get Netflix. Yeah.
Right. So Xbox is going to have, I don't want to say free because obviously it's not free, you're paying for it, but it's a lot of games at launch for not that much money. And it's a really good deal. I can't even stress that enough. So to start off, Alex, what do you think about the pricing? What do you think about the announcement? Let me know what your thoughts are. Okay,
so I went pretty back and forth on it. I'm not a big Microsoft guy. I mean, I love the Xbox, the OG Xbox. The 360 was a fantastic console. The Xbox One was just such a freaking disappointment to me, right? I think they did some things right, they introduced Game Pass. I love that they have the adaptive controller, which is trying to really include players of all ability to be able to enjoy, a gaming experience. They never had good games on the Xbox One for me, right? It never, whatever price point they had, it was never justified to me. So that it put me in a sour kind of disposition towards the future Xbox and Microsoft in general. So when they did this announcement, I'm just okay, the Series S, it's $300, that's nice, but I'm not going to get it. It's not a powerful console. And then, I'm maybe I'm being too subjective about this, right? So I took another look at it. I'm okay, I'm on board with this. I have a roommate who will definitely be getting the Series X, so I don't need to purchase it. However, I'm thinking to myself, if I didn't have a roommate, would I invest in either the Series X or the Series S? And the answer is, I think I probably would.
Okay.
I think I would. As a nice secondary console, I think the Series S is a very good option, right? If you say, I'm mostly playing on PC, Nintendo, or PlayStation, but I kind of want to see what Microsoft has to offer, I think the Series S is a fantastic jumping on point for that. Because I will wholeheartedly admit, Game Pass is a freaking steal. It is such a great aspect for we'll call it the Microsoft ecosystem, right? And it's something I envy as a Sony fan, as a PlayStation player. I think Sony will at some point, maybe not like immediately for the PS5 launch. I think they'll try to revitalize PS Now, because there's a lot of money to be made with this pricing system.
Yeah, for sure. So I just want to start out with some of the specs, because
let's do it.
You were talking about, the S is not a powerful console. I want to kind of give all of our listeners a good layman's terms of what all of these consoles will offer.
Teraflops.
Right. I'm not going to pretend that I am an expert. I did some Googles, and tried to simplify what's going on with the new consoles as much as possible. So
tell us, Ralph. Educate us.
Right. So there are kind of three main things to show how strong a console is. There's the amount of graphics that it can handle, there's the CPU, and then and this generation specifically is the SSDs. So let's start out with the graphics processing unit. So how much graphics can your console churn out? The Xbox Series X, which is the high-end version, has 12 teraflops. And the PlayStation 5 has around 10 teraflops. And what this essentially means is raw power. I'm going to read this because I'm going to screw it up. So 12 teraflops essentially means that Xbox can handle 12 trillion operations per second. I don't even know what that means.
So that, and I kind of did my own little research about, like, GPU and CPU, where does that come into play, especially for consoles? So the ability to do 12 trillion operations per second, that's not important for kind of like the back end operations that the system has to do. It's what's showing on screen, right? So if the screen can handle 12 million operations per second.
Trillion.
Yeah. So if the Xbox can support on the screen 12 trillion operations per second, right? That's huge.
It's a lot of grass and a lot of trees.
It's a lot of fantastic visuals that can come into play.
Right. The next thing is, so in that terms, the Xbox has around 2 trillion teraflops over the PlayStation. So it looks like Xbox focused in on raw power this generation on the high end.
And the Xbox the Xbox One X, right, which is the current Xbox console, it's stronger than the PS4 Pro.
Right. Yeah. Well, because it came out later, right? So
so the concept of like, oh man, now Xbox has the strongest one, that's always been the case. And I think, like, if you look at them side by side, you might be able to tell,
because at launch the PlayStation 4 was stronger than the Xbox.
I'm saying the Xbox
currently.
Yeah, it is stronger than the PS4 Pro. But yeah, if you look at them side by side, I think maybe you might be able to see like a small difference, but overall they're basically very similar.
And then the next thing is the CPU. The Xbox Series X has a marginally better CPU. Essentially, that's the back end. It's like the brain of the computer.
Switching tasks, right? Going to the home
it's like
menu
multitasking
super easily. Yeah.
So, and then the other thing that the PlayStation 5 has over the Xbox Series X is that it has a better SSD.
Huge.
If people don't know what that is, essentially it's the memory on your computer. It's how fast your computer can pull the information. So the PlayStation 5 has an SSD that can read the game's data more than 2 times as fast as the Xbox Series X. So, in short, the Xbox focus more on graphic fidelity or graphical strength, while the PlayStation 5 focus more along the lines of how fast can your games run on your console. So that's kind of the big thing with that.
The huge thing with, like, showing off, we have the SSD, no load times.
Right.
So that seems to be a bigger focus, what's your take on that?
To be honest, we're not gonna know until we have the consoles with us.
And maybe not even in 2020 or 2021. Maybe like, mid cycle for the console. I think that's when we'll be able to really harness. One thing that I do want to state though is that you can't change a game based on the how fast the SSD is. So, for instance, with graphics, you can reduce the quality of the graphics, use less teraflops, I guess. I don't know how that works. And that'll work. But with the SSD stuff, you're limited to that SSD because there's only your system can only run as fast as the SSD. You can't change the game settings or how the game is going to be played if the mechanics of the game require an immediate load time. So PlayStation has Ratchet and Clank, right? So they have this new Ratchet and Clank game where there's no load times at all. You can transfer between worlds immediately. That can't run on any other system that doesn't have that SSD that's capable of doing that. Yeah, exactly.
So I'm kind of curious as to how that's going to go.
For multiplayer games, yeah. So you don't own an Xbox. You have a PC, as you mentioned. You have Game Pass.
Well, because I don't need an Xbox, right?
Right.
Because,
so let's say your PC is out of the equation, right? Which I'm, sorry to say that. It's a hella good PC. You see this announcement. What are you thinking?
I think the Xbox Series S, the cheaper version, is really good for everyone. If you want to play those Xbox games and you don't have a strong PC to run it, it's definitely a good option there. For that console, it is weaker by a lot to the other not a lot, but it is definitely weaker.
Yeah, it's actually that was my gut reaction first, but then I looked at it again, I'm like, it's really not that much weaker.
I just don't understand how the teraflops work, so...
Right. Yeah, it's 12 trillion operation. It's a lot.
Yeah. So, what do you call it? I believe the Series S has 4 teraflops of GPU, and then the Series X has 12 teraflops of GPU. Obviously, based on numbers, there's a big differential.
Yeah,
there.
It's a third as powerful. Just as far as processing graphics.
Right.
We should note also that the Xbox One X,
which is the highest level, is so confusing.
Yeah. So the current best Xbox, right? The current Xbox is stronger graphically. I'll repeat that, is graphically stronger than the upcoming Xbox Series S, the
low
300, we'll call it entry level Xbox Series product, which is kind of weird to think about.
Well, so I think it's a different play for Xbox because the way they're marketing it, they're not marketing that console as a 4K console.
Yeah, it's referred to as 4K upscaling. Right. That's kind of the verbiage.
And they're also marketing they're really looking at showcasing it as a 1440p console, which is less than 4K.
Sure.
But it's still pretty good. I run my games on my PC on 1440p and they look great. I can't really tell the difference if I'm being honest.
And one thing that, this can do graphically over the current Xbox One X is ray tracing.
Right.
Yeah, it can ray trace just as well, just as good as the Xbox Series X, the $500 iteration of this console. So, and I was like, oh, wow, they're... obviously, they're cutting some corners in some places, but they're including ray tracing.
Right, because
that's
it's
really
a next-gen graphics card, right? So hopefully that does really well. Like you said before, it's definitely an entry-level system. But for someone like me, I don't even for the Series X, I don't see a reason for me to get a Series X because I can play all those games on the PC.
Yeah.
And
but if you didn't have a PC, would you think because I know you're going to get a PS5. I know we're both going to get one. Do you think you would be you'd get this as a secondary console? Would you look the other way?
I honestly probably no.
Okay.
I think it's complicated, right? Because I'm all about the games.
And there's just not.
And on the Xbox One, right? They kind of echoing my past statement.
That I'm looking at to play. Obviously, that is a bigger push for them this time around. They're buying up studios left and right.
Yeah, they got
Ninja Theory.
the 15, possibly 16. There may have been another one, but so they realize their shortcomings. Mm-hmm. And I looked at the studios. They're not like super obscure. Are they like heavy hitters? Are they super game changers? We'll see.
Double Fine?
Yeah, Double Fine's cool. They're not really making games left and right, though. Yeah. Did they do Psychonauts?
Yeah, they
did Psychonauts.
Psychonauts 2 hasn't even come out yet. So
right, so maybe that might be a title for them. So they're working towards it, right? They realize their mistakes. They're working on it, which is that's the most important step.
Right.
So, and Fable. Fable's 2 and 3, whatever. But Fable 1, dude. Fable 1's got a great place in most people's hearts if they've played it.
Yeah, I love the Fable series.
Yeah.
But with this, the way that it just looks, and it's not really a console play. I think they're trying to, I don't even know how to say it, but I think they're trying to evolve their business
model.
Right. It's not about selling consoles anymore.
It's the service.
It's about getting people to sign up for Xbox Game Pass, right? Mm-hmm. They don't care that you're playing on PC. They don't care if you're playing on your phone with XCloud or something like that. Like,
can you briefly talk about XCloud too? Yeah. I think that's a great thing to point out for listeners.
So the other thing too, totally forgot, with the Ultimate Game Pass or whatever that they have, that also comes with XCloud. I don't know if it's live yet, but it's
in beta.
Right. Essentially, you'll be able to stream games to your phone, your PC, your TV, whatever. You don't need to download anything. The way it works is that they have computers up there in the cloud, in the ether.
The XCloud.
Right, the XCloud. And they will beam the game to your phone, to your TV, and you'll just play it right off the bat. So,
and you can get a lot of information from the actual Microsoft website. So Ralph had mentioned that to me, and XCloud. I'm like, wait, XCloud? What is that? And obviously it's still in beta, so that's why they're not full on shoving this into people's faces. But I was looking into it. I could only see you could play it on a tablet or a smartphone. Well, that could be an Android one. So I couldn't even do it on my iPad. I think
you also need, if you're playing on your phone, I believe you also need some form of I guess you could use Bluetooth, but some form of attachment to a controller.
Yeah, there's links to buy something from Razer or something. So if I'm playing a high end game, I don't want to play it on my phone or a tablet. I want to do it on the TV. So again, it's in beta, so I would expect that to change, because Stadia, this is in an essence what Stadia try to do, whatever you want to say.
Do it.
I forget about them on a regular basis. I think Stadia could just connect to a TV. So I would like to see Microsoft do that, because xCloud is very promising. It's a really great concept. So I think they can seriously capitalize on that.
So I'm curious about that. One thing that definitely just recently dropped, and we'll talk about it more next week, PlayStation is going to have a press conference next week. It makes complete sense. There's no way Sony can wait on a price anymore, especially that the pre-orders for the Series X and the Series S is this month. So it's do or die for them. What do you think the price for the PlayStation consoles are going to be?
So I'll never forget the fat PS3.
Get a second job?
The fat PS3. Dude, that thing is like a weapon. You could actually murder someone with that PS3. And that was price pointed at $600. And that was their launch, I want to say,
I would also like to note before we go into this, during that press conference, they dropped, this console's $600, and people were complaining. And they were like, you need to get a second job for this console. I'm like, who says that to people?
Yeah, it's honestly, it's funny. And that was a straight up fiasco. I think a couple, it sold at launch very terribly, rightfully so. And then the price dipped, and they eventually launched the $300 PS3 Slim, which I actually got because I was an Xbox 360 player from the start, and the PS3 Slim launched, and I'm like, okay, I'll get that. And then I honestly turned into a Sony boy from there. So I don't think they're gonna exceed $500.
Okay.
I don't think they will go above the Microsoft price point. The PS4 Pro launched at $400. So I think that's important to know. And obviously, like, this is all speculation, educated guesses at best. So I would admit, and again, so there's two versions of the PS5 launching. One that is digital only. So you can only, you can't buy physical games or Blu-rays, whatever, and pop them in. There's the digital only and then the physical only. Obviously, the physical one we would say would be more expensive because obviously it has an added feature.
But they're essentially the same console.
Yeah, and
so that's the difference, right?
That is huge. So yeah, it's not like the Series X and the Series S. It's just one's digital, one can do physical and digital, but they're the same on the inside otherwise. I would say the PS5 will be either 500 and 450 or 450 and 400.
Yeah. I'm probably leaning on the 400 and 450
Yeah.
one. Just because it's hard to argue at launch. Because yes, for people like us that are doing our research on like what's the best console for us, right? I don't think it's going to matter to the mom out there that sees, oh, this is the new Xbox. It's $300. I'm going to get that one instead of the $400 PlayStation.
You see
right?
that all the time, like ill-informed parents. Like I went to like GameStop the other day, and there was this mom who's like trying to buy Fortnite. Like they know Fortnite is like this huge thing, and it was like a $60 thing. And I was so close to being like, it's a free game. Your son or daughter
there's
just
probably
needs
like a game bundle out there, right?
No, yeah, there's like you get the V-Bucks or whatever. Like it's kind of, and I don't know if this is fair to call out, but like it's kind of predatory on ill-informed consumers, but also it's kind of their fault for not being informed at the same time. But like it's a free game. Why is it having so? Yeah, so the ill-informed consumers they might just see like, oh, $300 Xbox. Why would I pay $200 more? Let's just get this. So. I think at launch, the Series S is the best console to me.
Ooh, that's really funny because before we started the podcast, you were telling me how you felt dirty that at the wedding you were trying to tell all your friends, hey, you need to get a PlayStation. Don't stick.
So
with
the
Xbox.
wedding I was at
yesterday,
the groom and like a lot of his hometown friends, they're ingrained in the Microsoft, the Xbox ecosystem, right? And I was talking to them about it, and actually, when we were at the wedding, the info launched that Sony would have their press conference on Wednesday. So kind of just talking about it, picking their brains, and a lot of them were like, dude, I had a PS2, I loved God of War, Final Fantasy 10, 12. I love Halo, obviously, I love Gears, but like that's kind of it. And then I'm seeing on the Sony side, there's all these great exclusives. So I'm hearing this, and I just have like the dumbest, biggest grin ever. I'm like, good. Join the dark side. Join the dark side of Sony. But I obviously like I want them to jump over to our the Sony side so we can play games easier, talk over chat, just generally hang out more often.
Well, so I have a follow-up question to you, right? Because with a lot of these consoles back in the day, it was whoever starts out, you tell your friend, all right, I got an Xbox, you need to get an Xbox because we're playing Xbox. And then the other people are like, I got a PlayStation, I can only play on PlayStation, please get a PlayStation so we can play together. With crossplay being more normal, do you think that's going to be more like this still an issue, or do you think that's a non-factor moving forward?
Yeah, that is something I was thinking about too. Even if you can't do party chat crossplay, there's still like Discord, right? Or like Zoom and Microsoft Teams are like, there's all these different incorporated ways to communicate with each other whatsoever. I wonder how that'll impact Xbox. I think they know that too, which is why they're investing in these 16 plus game studios, because they know that, with crossplay coming out, we need to have more in our repertoire as a selling point. But kind of going back to the idea that the Series S was the best at launch because
it's a good deal.
It's a freaking amazing deal. Yeah, if the 4K upscaling doesn't bother you, right? Because I think regardless of if you get the Series X or the S, you're going to get Game Pass because it's a logical decision to invest in Game Pass. But the thing is, as time goes on, right, Microsoft is going to have to optimize games that can run for the Series S and also the Series X. So the games are going to be inhibited in the fact that they can't just pump out the best of the best that the Series X can do because they need to also keep the Series S in mind, especially because I think a lot of people are going to go for that console.
Yeah.
And then you look at Sony, like we were saying, it's the same on the inside. So those developers, for the first-party Sony games at least, they know what they're working with, and they can push that thing to its limit.
Right.
Right? Because if you play like Avengers right now on my PS4 Pro, it sounds like a jet engine. I cannot imagine what playing the thing on like a PS4 Slim would be like. It might even just explode, right? So if they try to make a game and optimize it for the Series X and you're playing it on an S, I don't know how well it's going to run. Like it's not going to be perfect. I know like in your head, it's like, okay, they can just, have like as soon as you pop it into the Series S, it'll run fine for that. If you're doing the X, maybe it'll run fine for that. I think in a perfect world that'd be real. I don't think it'll actually execute that way, though. I think the Series S will, as time goes on, kind of get shafted, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
In terms of performance.
Well, one thing I also did want to add, because I did want to bring this up when we were talking about how good that deal is. With the deal, though, you do end up spending more than usual. But I guess, I believe instead of just paying the 400, you're ending up, or the 400 or 500, you ended up spending probably around 6 or 7 in the span of 24 months.
Yeah, for the S at least it was that number.
Right. But I do want to stress that yes, you are spending more, but what Alex was saying that I did want to talk about is you're probably going to end up getting Game Pass Ultimate anyway. So that's where that extra money is coming from. Yeah.
Where I see the S versus the X, I think like if the Xbox, all your friends are playing it, right? Word of mouth comes out like, hey, I've got this, you should get that too. Just so, with the first party games come out, we can play them together. I think if you're big into gaming, like Ralph and and that's going to be your primary console, you should get the Series X. I think like ultimately I think this generation will last long.
How mad would you be if in 2 years there's an Xbox Series X Elite
Plus and Knuckles Alpha Plus? Yeah, exactly. I do wonder if there's gonna be another like a half gen step up.
There's definitely going to be.
You think so?
Yeah, no, because the way the console market is moving forward now, it's very much imitating the phone market. So
yeah, I get that. Just how much better can you make the console?
Hey, back when I was a child, I thought Tekken 3 was the best looking game forever. So I'm kind of scared about that. I don't want to get us off on a tangent, but I am kind of scared on photorealism.
Yeah.
Like the moment we get to photorealism, I think it would freak me out. So.
Yeah, I mean, even like Control on like a current gen game, you're like, is this a real person? Is it? So it's cool. Like who knows? Maybe there will be a half step upgrade, maybe there won't, but I think you're right. I think there's a good chance there will be. So maybe an option is get the S, and then when there's the half step upgrade, you go with that. I think one way or another, if that's gonna be your primary console and you do get the 500 version, the Series X, you'll get your money's worth, right? If someone's more passive, like they buy only like a handful of games a year, or on Game Pass they don't really play through much, they mostly use it as like a Netflix or Hulu machine, which no shame, like it's convenient that way too. The Series S, definitely up your alley, I would say.
Yeah, and I'm sure that we're going to talk about this way more next week too when we find out more about the PlayStation 5 and the pricing and the release
this upcoming
date.
Wednesday, 15th,
so
16th,
yeah,
16th.
It's going to be a lot to talk about. Well, we still have so much more. That was just one section. Last week as well was Ubisoft Forward. It was their press conference to talk about some of their new games coming up. Just Alex is
I'm already giggling.
Alex
over here.
Alex has something locked in his head already. He's like, I'm about to destroy this entire game's career.
Yeah, so as soon as Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake was announced, I text you like, oh man, Ubisoft just announced their new PS3 game.
And I was very confused.
Yeah, you're probably like, did he just typo that? Did he meant to say 5? And what's funny is a week ago, my friend and I were talking about this after we listened to episode 1. He's like, yeah, like Ubisoft's thing's coming out. Like I would love to see Prince of Persia again. And so I immediately thought of him and texted him like the same thing.
That's awesome. Well, before you're about to,
I was about to
shoot
unload
this game, a few things that got announced at this conference. Obviously, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake was announced. We're gonna talk about it. Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the complete edition. That was, I believe, an Xbox arcade game that got taken off, and now it's back. So I'm really excited to play that. Gods and Monsters, which is now rebranded as Immortals Phoenix Rising. I have my own thoughts about that game. And then Riders Republic, which is a new IP or a new game that they just announced. There's other stuff that they brought up, but we'll save that for another time if we have some time for that. So Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake.
Yeah, so let me just say, I didn't really look into or pay attention to the Ubisoft Forward after I saw the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake. I saw that, I'm like, well, time to invest my time somewhere else.
You're like, well, this is a joke.
Yeah, like, well, Ralph's hosting, so I don't need to, like, pay attention totally to all this. I was aware of, like, some of the games that are announced, like Immortals Phoenix Rising. But yeah, it was such a turnoff for me, because Ubisoft has their ups and downs. I generally do like them, though. They've got some fun properties, some fun game franchises, and I think like Prince of Persia is definitely on that list. It was a great game back in the day. It was on the PS2. I think all 3 of the games were PS2, Xbox, GameCube games, right? So it's been a while. Everyone in this age now where you see remakes and remasters, left and right, so people are like, okay, when is this going to happen? And so to kind of touch on the difference of those words, they are synonymous, right? They're similar sounding, similar meaning, but there is a huge difference. So a remaster is, for all intents and purposes, a graphical touch, right? You're upticking the graphics, kind of like what we saw with...
It's from 1440 to 1080.
Yeah.
But it still looks kind of bad.
Yeah, so kind of like what we see with Nintendo when they re-announced the triple pack of like Mario 64. Yeah. It's just like a light graphical uptouch. A remake, look at Shadow of the Colossus, look at Final Fantasy VII Remake. It is our Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening for the Switch. Full ground up. It's...
New art assets.
Yeah. It's like new, basically everything. Same soul as the original, but you're making it just better from the ground up, right? And so this game, when it's called Sands of Time Remake, that's so promising.
But so
because it's a remaster, like, okay, same everything, just it looks better, sure. But remake is, okay, there's gonna be a lot of effort put into this. It's gonna look great. It's gonna be optimized for next gen, and then you see it and you're like, okay, is the video buffering? Is it gonna become clear in a hot second? And no, like that was it. And I mean, like the story and stuff, like it still looks charming. The gameplay looks fun. It's just, why does it look like not even an end-gen PS3 game? Like Final Fantasy 13-3, Lightning Returns on the PS3 looked way better than that game.
Okay.
I don't even think that's an exaggeration. I'm hurt. I'm hurt that they did this series dirty. I wasn't like a huge fan. I played them. I like the third one a lot, which may have been like
Is that the emo one, the edgy?
It's where he has like two personalities or whatever. I got it as like a gift. I'm like, okay, I'll play. I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. And now I'm like, why?
Right.
Why do they think this is a good idea?
I do want to note, if the listeners haven't seen it, it is a significant upgrade to the graphics. They did remake art assets. It definitely looks different.
Yeah, it is
he has
remade.
A shirt now.
Yeah.
He did not have a shirt before.
That's where all the money went to,
right.
Buying him a shirt.
But I do agree with you that it's not the best, because like you said, with the remake now, the term remake, there is definitely
an expectation.
Yeah, there's an expectation out there.
Yeah.
Especially with how the other remakes have been done, they look great. They look of this gen, and I do agree it kind of looks a little old. I'm hoping that it looks better when it launches. I don't know how much they can improve upon the game, but it does launch next year. So they have a little bit over 6 months to polish that up. But
right, yeah.
Like I said, I don't know how much they can improve the graphic fidelity of the game, because
not like a crazy amount, I would imagine.
Right, it's a lot of art assets.
Yeah, so that's it's disappointing. That's really like I'm not mad, son. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like Ubisoft's father right now. Because honestly, like it was free real estate. Like people wanted it.
Yeah,
and like even if it looked like an Xbox One or a PS4 game, I don't think people would have been so butthurt about it, but like, man, not good.
Right. Well, and it's
not
also
good.
like a bummer, right? Because
it is 100%.
I think with what this remake, it kind of dictates for Ubisoft, are we going to make any more Prince of Persia games? I think this is a litmus test to whether or not they're going to develop more Prince of Persia games. And so if this doesn't do well, I don't want Ubisoft to think, you know what, people don't want Prince of Persia games. I need them to think, you know what, we didn't put too much effort into this. And I'm not trying to say that those developers didn't work hard on this game, but
yeah, I'm sure they have a story.
They definitely worked out really hard on this game, but they could have done so much more, especially since I think the fans of that game, when you say remake, there's a high expectation to what that's supposed to look like.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to go for like apples here, Shadow of the Colossus was also a PS2 game. And then they did an HD remaster on the PlayStation 3. And they did a full out remake on gorgeous. The PS4. Like it looks great. Like that is the expectation of a remake, and they knocked it out of the park.
So
and Prince of Persia is just not. Sorry, what?
Are you picking it up?
Hell no. If someone gave it to me, I'd be like, oh, thanks, I need a new coaster for my table.
Wow.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm not. And I think the thing is, if it doesn't sell well, which, hint, it won't, or it won't download as well, whatever, if it's on Game Pass, they know. I think they know, given the amount of the volume of comments that have risen up for this, like for the announcement trailer, if you go to YouTube, so many people are just making memes like how it looks like a PS3 game. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, this is terrible. Like,
and I feel bad for the devs.
Yeah, no, I do. I do too, because they're human beings at the end of the day. It's just why someone said like, "Yup, this is what we want. Punch it."
Right.
Yeah, we're shipping it like this. So they know it. They know why it'll have its shortcomings. If they do, this is like means like they need to remake the remake. It's funny because it's true.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if they do a second one, right, they'll have their bearings. They will realize their shortcomings and be able to overcome them from there. So. Yeah. It's not the end all be all. Again, it's disappointing though, for sure.
Right. They also announced Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the complete edition.
Great movie.
I love that movie. I love those comic books. I'm very excited to play this. I didn't have a chance to play this when it was out, and then it was taken off the store. It's definitely something that I am going to force Sam to play with me.
Okay, cool. So, I think she would like that.
So I think it's simple enough, and I think it's cool, and I think it's quirky. So I'm definitely looking forward to play that. So. That's one. I don't think there's much to say about the game. It's essentially just based on the book, and it's a beat 'em up game. So a short experience would be great for someone.
It's kind of like an arcade side scroll, right?
Yeah. So not too much, but I am really excited for it. The one thing that I did want to touch base on is Gods and Monsters. Now,
Let's
Immortals
do it.
Phoenix Rising. One stupid name, terrible name.
It's pretty ham.
It's
pretty ham. Immortals, yeah, it's kind of a lot.
I'm curious why they changed the name. Maybe it's a rights issue. It was like hard to get a trademark.
Oh,
or something
that's a
along
good
those
point.
lines.
Didn't think about
so
that.
They needed something, and maybe it was a search engine optimization issue. They wanted something that was, because Gods and
easier
Monsters,
to find,
right? Because if you Google Gods and Monsters on Google, right, there's a lot that could come up. If you have a more unique name, like Immortals Phoenix Rising, then they'll have better search engine optimization for that. So,
and so to kind of go over, and if you didn't watch this reveal, this trailer, I think it was kind of the highlight of the Ubisoft Forward.
well,
maybe Prince of Persia was the highlight in the wrong way, though.
For me, to be honest, I don't think it was the highlight personally.
Okay, there's a lot of hype behind it, at least.
I think a lot of people are interested in it. For the listeners that didn't get a chance to look at it, it's essentially Ubisoft's Legend of Zelda. Ubisoft
Breath of the
edition.
Wild, yeah.
So it looks a lot like it.
Open world.
Yeah, open world action game. I love Greek mythology.
Yeah, same.
It's like really one of my favorite things, and I'm
a big selling point.
I'm so disappointed in this game because when I was playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I was like, I'm so in on this Greek mythology stuff. There's some secret Greek mythology stuff in here.
Yeah,
it's super cool, but this was legitimately just a Greek mythology game, and I was so stoked for it. And Alex knows this so much about me, and it stems from just even like in anime. If I don't like the art style, I can't get into it.
Yeah, it can be the best freaking story ever,
or the best game that it can be.
And if it doesn't look good, he won't even give it a second chance.
Right,
It's like, nope, done, bye.
Here's the thing. I think the game looks good. I think it's beautiful and it's cool. I just have a weird thing with body proportions. So this thing has weird character body proportions.
The body proportions in Zelda are also very weird.
I don't think so. They look normal to me. Maybe it's because it's years and years of Nintendo.
Fair. Also, Zelda's its own thing, I guess. Yeah.
But with this, it dare I say, and I hope I don't get flack for this. It looks like a mobile game.
Oh.
It looks like a mobile game.
Oh no.
Yeah, so
you said the thing.
I said the thing. I don't know. It's weird. I don't like the body proportions. I don't like the art style. I think it's a deliberate choice, and I can't fault them for that. I think it's a deliberate choice because I'm sure Ubisoft is looking at Fortnite and thinking, hey, like we need something that's kid friendly and that can appeal to a lot of ages. And looking at this game, I can already think, I'm like, this is marketed for children. So maybe some adults too.
Is that just based on the art style?
Art style, yes. Because marketing wise, you're going to look at it and like, oh, that's like a kid's game. Maybe that's just me. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so Greek myth is a huge interest point for me. It's like one of the reasons why Hercules is one of my favorite Disney movies.
Yeah.
Is
Megara best girl?
That is a conversation for a different time. And then the idea of open world with Greek myth and the ideas and concepts and adventures you can go on inspired by Greek and Roman mythology is like almost endless. Like there's gonna be so much fun, cool stuff to do, I think, in Immortals Phoenix Rising. As far as art style goes, you're right. Like I understand why they went for that. When you see, you're like, is that like, it's like Fortnite, huh? Okay. Mm-hmm. And I would agree with your statement that it was probably a deliberate choice. It also doesn't seem like a very hard graphical concept or like aesthetic choice to pull off, one on like the devs part and two on the systems end, especially in open world where there's a lot of stuff on screen. So if you choose this art style, that's more easy to run with for the console. I think that's a good overall decision on the director's part. Maybe, right? Who knows? It's speculative.
Because like I said,
it's not even, it's weird. It's definitely an art style issue for me because I watch anime.
Yeah, I mean that's fine.
Chibis
Yeah.
look normal to me.
Okay,
and
wow.
those body proportions don't make sense. But for some reason, something is just really off-putting about the main character. Even the monster design is off-putting to me. So
it looks a little like kiddish, the monster design.
Yeah,
almost.
so
what I noticed from the trailer.
Yeah, so I am hoping that this game is good. I know a lot of people were hoping for Breath of the Wild 2 this holiday season. Maybe we'll still get it, but if we don't, this is definitely a game to watch out for. Maybe you'll pick it up and convince me to get it. But as of now, it's definitely not something that I want to check out.
Yeah. I want to, but I also,
Miles Morales, Spider-Man.
No, yeah, there's just gonna be so many other options of stuff to play, and it's open world.
Right.
So, and that's the reason why I didn't play Assassin's Creed Odyssey is I read there's just way too much stuff to do. You can get 200 hours in, and there's still
right.
You're maybe halfway through everything. So
open world is the monster under the bed for the people that are working.
Yeah, it totally is. I mean, even when I wasn't working, when I was just in school, it's just there's so many other games coming out. I think there's an abundance of games coming out, and so to dedicate and do right with an open world game, it's hard, right? I was able to do Ghost of Tsushima. Bless that game, 8.5. I can't always do that. I need to mentally prepare for months. Mm-hmm. Okay, this game is coming out. This is going to be my jam for the next month or so, right? I can't just jump into an open world and give it all the time and love that it needs. Ghost of Tsushima, I was announced a year and a half.
And you knew immediately.
Yeah.
You told me,
I was
yo, Ralph, this Ghost of Tsushima
I totally did. Yeah. Didn't even know it was an open world until I don't know, 6 months until launch. But I was just hyping myself for this game. So it didn't matter.
Right.
I was going to play. For this, I want to try it.
Ubisoft sent us a beta. We'll check it out. We'll talk about the game.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, we can do that. So I'm willing to at least give it a shot, I guess.
Yeah. The one big thing that the one more thing that they had at the conference was Riders Republic. I thought this was the bigger deal than what's the name again? Immortals Phoenix Rising.
Yeah, no, it's a mouthful.
But Riders Republic is essentially this extreme sports game. Imagine everything's a battle royale now. It's a battle royale extreme sports game / racing game. I don't really understand what it is yet, but
they're just throwing popular buzzwords in there. Buy it, please. You know this.
But I actually thought it was super cool.
Yeah.
Love the art style. Great art style.
Okay, well there you go.
Yeah. But it is, mountain biking, what's the squirrel suit thing? Is it wingsuit?
I think
yeah.
Paragliding? I don't know. But yeah, squirrel suit flying, yeah.
Yeah. That one, some snowboarding, skiing, and it looks like everyone is doing their own thing, going down into a mountain, racing something. And it looks cool. It reminds me a lot of, SSX Tricky when I was younger.
Yeah, no, those are some good times.
Right,
good
some
times.
Tony Hawk. And I think it's super interesting, and I'm hoping that it is a good game. So I don't know when that comes out. I don't have it in my notes, but definitely check it out if you haven't had a chance to look at it. Did you see it?
It seems pretty interesting. I'm curious to get some more information on it, possibly check it out. I think, it'd be a fun game to play together for sure.
Yeah, another battle royale.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not a battle royale. It just looked like a battle royale from the trailers. But
yeah, I mean, if it is, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Right? Because battle royale doesn't automatically just mean Fortnite, right? As we see with Fall Guys, as we see with Mario... What is
Mario 35?
Mario 35. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. It's just, you can do a lot of stuff with the formula, which people are discovering, which is cool. I'm totally behind that.
Yeah. There's some other stuff that they announced. I'll just read them out. If there's anything that sticks out to you, let me know if you want to kind of elaborate on them. Rainbow Six Siege is adding Sam Fisher. For Honor Resistance is this new expansion that they have. Just Dance 2021. They're adding... So I had to look deeper into this. I thought it was a new game. It's not. So they're doing a thing called Far Cry VR. It is a 1-to-1 experience. And what that means is that you need to go to a physical place to do the VR experience. I don't know how the frick they're going to do that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, with
global circumstances.
So I don't know if that's gonna happen. But they have Agos, a game about space, Monster Prom 2, Monster Camp, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Red Patriot, and The Crew 2 has The Chase Season 1. Is there anything here that you want to talk about? Or?
I guess For Honor Resistance. I was actually, and my friend the one who got married yesterday, he played For Honor, and I was like, I'd followed it until its release, and it's a really cool concept. It's a game that lives and dies by its online, right? Because it's literally just like, I think it's 3v3 battles, and that's it. Like you pick a faction.
It's like a fighting game?
Yeah, it's an arena fighter. Right. So it's 3v3 fights, but it's just literally like all human players, right? So if the player base is bad, it's not going to do well. If the online connectivity is bad, you won't have players, because why am I spending time with this when I can't even fully enjoy it? So it's a super cool concept, and it didn't do well because the online connectivity was bad. Like there was a lot of lag, and so when your game, lives and dies online, you hate to see that. Right. So cool concept. Hopefully they can improve on it, because I would be down.
Well, though,
I'd be down to play it.
I think it's doing well though, right? Because I don't know if they would support it for this long.
Is a new game, or is it?
No, I think it's just an expansion.
Okay.
Because I think they're doing the Rainbow Six Siege thing with it.
Right.
Because remember, Rainbow Six Siege was also, I don't know if it launched too well, but it is thriving.
Yeah, now, it's doing really well, and maybe they optimized and improved the For Honor online system. If that is the case, I might check out Resistance. I'll do some research on it. But yeah, super cool concept. If it does well, like that's amazing to hear.
Yeah. So since I think that's all of the news so far, let's move on to our next segment, which is Question Block.
Question Block from our OG fans. What was it, 42 of them? Yeah. We got some. Actually,
I'm so proud of that number. I legitimately thought we were only gonna get 5 listeners. One was gonna be my fiance.
Yeah, one was gonna be my mom. Yeah. So we got honestly from like a wide array of states. We're not multinational level yet, right? I want fans in like Russia. Yeah. That'd be crazy.
I think I could get someone to listen to us from Russia.
Or from work.
Someone from work, yeah.
But yeah, we've been getting some DMs, some emails about like, hey, or just some phone calls in general from our friends. Hey, want to get your opinion on this. Do you think you'd be able to cover that? And we did have an idea of what kind of question we wanted to do this week. But we're like, you know what? I think this is better. This is more intimate with the viewers and listeners to talk about some stuff they want to discuss. So that's what we're going to do. Let us know how you feel about it. Let us know if you have any questions that you want answered. We can give you a specific shout out to. Always love to connect with our fans and our community in that way. So do you want to move forward with the question then?
Yeah, and on another note with that, we also had some other questions too. So if we don't get to your question this week, we'll probably try and cover it to another week or,
for sure,
following that. So
yeah, we read all our comments. All 10 of them, yes.
6.
Yeah, but we want to keep this like a really solid community, a nice vibe with our fans. So yeah, we're gonna try our best to keep it real with you guys, for sure.
Right. So this question block question comes from Professional Casual Bacon Nerd. So their question is
Bacon Nerd. Let's go. Yeah.
How many games should I play in a year? Do I invest 100 hours playing something like Assassin's Creed and get a season pass, or do I play a game like Destiny, pick up and play games like Fortnite? Do I go to more social games with friends? How do I avoid FOBO, which is fear of better options, for the games I play? So Alex, how can you help out Bacon Nerd? You got any thoughts for him?
Bacon Nerd, I got you, bro. So at the end of the day, there's no best optimized way to play video games. It's, if it's something you're passionate about, you'll go through a lot of games, anything like that you're familiar with in the industry, or word of mouth from other people. Some games that we are talking about or have talked about in the past. I always look at reviews. Okay, and I know reviews are not the end all be all. I'll be the first one to admit that. But I love.
Didn't you play Jump Force?
No, I didn't. Yeah, so that'll be totally another conversation. I love looking at like Metacritic. I know IGN gets like a terrible reputation for their reviews. I still like watching the videos, reading the articles about what critics have to say, because at the end of the day, even if your opinion doesn't vibe with theirs or you don't agree with it, it is still an opinion nonetheless, and whatever they're saying about the game, you can make your own opinion on. So if you feel like it is worth it to buy it, then yeah. So I would say doing research for whatever game you're going to play is never a bad idea. Too much information is never a bad thing. Lack of information, on the other hand, can be detrimental. And I want to double down on that concept because, as I kind of echoing what I said earlier, there's a lot of games that come out nowadays. There's a lot, right? And if you are like a financially independent person, you can,
left and right.
Yeah, you can. You have the ability to get your own games. You don't need to like wait for your parents, whatever. So it's your money, and you should spend it in the best way possible. So I always like to do research, whether that is going on sites or podcasts, hearing what other people in the video game realm have to say, or even just talking about it with a friend like Ralph. We do this obviously for the podcast, but we're really good friends and we talk about games pretty much.
So
like
how many
every other
games
day.
do you typically play?
See, I wonder. I think I play a lot of games. I don't know what that number is. A better question is like, how many do I complete? Right? Because I definitely have like
A backlog.
Yeah, I definitely have a backlog or like buyer's remorse. Like when I buy a bad game, like I looked into it and it's just ultimately not for me, and that stinks. I would say I'm probably playing a new game like every other month.
Okay.
Right. So we'll talk about 6+ games. I also play League of Legends. I haven't been playing recently, but I've clocked an absurd amount of hours in that game, which isn't something I buy or like renew. It's always been there. So I play with friends.
Yeah.
How about you?
I typically play around like 12 a year.
Yeah.
Like one game a month. Usually something that piques my interest. I do probably try to stay as current as possible, more than most people.
Mm-hmm.
With things.
Yeah, you have a problem with gang games.
No. I don't have a problem with getting games because I'm playing Persona 5 right now.
Okay, right
And
now,
that is
yeah.
that's probably going to take like 4 months.
Yeah, well, hopefully you beat it before then.
Right. Well, at the rate I'm
yeah.
going right now, I'm gonna burn through that. But I do tend to do probably one kind of interesting game per month. I do have some of those games as a service games that come in regularly. It's very similar to League of Legends for you.
Yeah.
So your Destinies, no, this time around it's going to be Avengers.
Right.
So it's definitely like that. With the amount of games that you're playing, to be honest, it really depends on you. Play the games you want to play.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. If you're not having fun with it, don't put yourself through it. Like ultimately, like games they're for your enjoyment. So if you're not, it's simple. Like if you're not enjoying it, move on. Right.
Right. And then with the fear of better options thing, you can always go back to games. I didn't buy Odyssey at launch. Because, like Alex, I was very scared of open world games.
Of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I was like Super Mario Odyssey. Yeah. Assassin's
Creed Odyssey. I didn't buy that at launch. So I bought that probably a year later. And I played it a year later. Still a good game. I beat it. And you don't need to play it immediately. I just have a problem. And I need to play the game.
It's actually hilarious.
But if you want to play Last of Us 3 years later, play Last of Us 3 years later. It doesn't matter. The game is still just as good as when it would launch. The only issue with that I do need to bring up is that if you play a more contemporary game, before those later games, it might start to show its age. But if it is a truly good game, it's not going to matter because truly good games will last forever.
I also think a big boon or an aspect of getting games like closer to release is they're more in the conversation, right? Like if you play a game that's recent and we're talking about on the podcast, like that's pretty cool. Like you can connect with us in that way, or just other people in the video game community in general. opposed to if you wait for it to drop to like $40 or something, it's kind of out of the discussion. I think that's more of a cosmetic issue or aspect. I personally don't care that much about that. Like if it gets its time on in other people's hands, there's a lot of communication concepts going on. And obviously like games are getting updates too, right? So if you play a game a few months down the road and it's been updated a few times, you're getting the best version of that game, which is obviously great. And you know, there's been a lot of reviews about it probably. So I think waiting to play a game is often a good choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I don't want to put words in your mouth, Bacon Nerd, but I think I think part of this is maybe not a fear of better options, but also that thing that Alex was saying, that when the reason you play a game at launch is you want to listen to the podcast that is talking about that game. You want to talk to your friends who are jumping onto that game immediately. So maybe it's an issue of being scared that, I want to talk to my friends about these video games, but they're playing video games that I'm not playing, and I don't have the time to play that. And that's totally fine. Maybe just talk to your friends and say, hey, like, what games are you playing right now? Do you like it? If so, then I want to play it too, right? Yeah. So have those conversations, have open communications with the people you like to talk games with. So yeah, do that.
Awesome. Yeah. And if you do get it like at full price and your friends are playing it, I think even, it's not optimal. Like you'd rather buy like 40 or whatever when it's on sale. But I think the added enjoyment of playing a game with your friends adds so much value to a game. Right. 100%.
Because Alex would totally hate Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, doubling down on the idea, right? Like, I wouldn't be playing this game. We wouldn't be having communication issues if I wasn't playing Avengers.
Right, and to be honest, there's just too many games out right now.
Which is such a good problem to have, I guess. But it's also first world problem.
But it's also a problem.
Yeah, it is a problem nonetheless.
Because I think that having too many games out, I think, is one of the reasons a lot of these studios are closing. And I think is also one of the reasons, some of these games are in development for 5-6 years because they are so scared to come out with a bad game that they're going to end up bankrupt because games are so expensive. So it's tough. It's kind of an interesting issue to have.
It's tough. Yeah. And then when you have your trailers, right, it can't look like a PS3 game.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. But yeah, any other thoughts for Bacon Nerd or?
Yeah, I think get information, gravitate towards genres you typically like. I think that's safer. Talk to people about what they're playing. If you think it'd mesh well with you, just get information. Don't jump into it blind. Because I've definitely done that before with games. Like when I was younger, I'm like, oh man, this cinematic, this trailer looks super cool. And I play it and it's just nothing like it. I'm like, well, that stinks, right? But that's just, you live and learn. And hopefully you don't have to go through that error, though. A $60 error. You can just do research online and find a good game that way.
And it's also just the quality of your time, right? You don't need to play the 40-hour game. If you are playing that 40-hour game, are you enjoying it for all of your 40 hours? Or at that last 20-hour half, are you hating it? Just drop it. Play a different game that you are going to enjoy more.
Totally agree.
A 3-hour game that you have a blast with is going to be better than a 100-hour game that you're trudging through and you hate. So just make better decisions and just understand what you like.
Awesome. And, speaking of the idea of waiting, right?
Yeah.
To get a game after it's been people's hands and what they have to say. We've got some deals, right? So, Ralph, I want to kick off with some good deals of the week.
Yeah, so Xbox Live games for September's are the following. The Division is free for this month. It's weird. I did not realize this until I started looking this up. They do theirs in a weekly basis, which is not the same as PlayStation, which you get.
They're live games? Okay.
Yeah, in PlayStation, you get your PlayStation Plus games immediately. For them, you have to wait like 2 weeks, and then the other games drop the following week. So, I don't know the dates, but The Division is free now. Then there's this game called Book of Unwritten Tales 2.
Cool.
And then some backwards compatibility games that are going to be free are The Blob and Armed and Dangerous. On Xbox Live, the following sale is up. It's called the Ubisoft Publisher Sale. A few call-outs that I do want to say is Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is $14, and Watch Dogs 2, which is $10. Those are both very good games. And it might be a good idea to jump in on those games now because their sequels are coming out for the next gen consoles or
true, yeah. Assassin's Creed,
gen.
Valhalla, and Watch Dogs Legion, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, PlayStation Plus games, that are free. I don't know if Alex has something to say about this.
Oh my God.
Street Fighter 5 is free.
Lol.
This September, as well as PUBG. So, Player Unknown Battlegrounds, the OG Battle Royale, the one that kicked it off. The big sale, which I would say is the best.
Totally.
PSVR, there's a PSVR sale going on right now. It's probably no contest the best VR sale I've ever seen. That's coming out for them. No Beat Saber though.
There is Super Hot.
Because they don't know.
Super Hot's on there.
They don't need to be on sale. But one thing that I do need to call out to people is Astrobot Rescue Mission is $7.39. That's probably, in my opinion, the best VR game.
Awesome.
On PlayStation.
For $7.39. That's good.
Yeah, and then Iron Man VR, which just came out, is $30. Another call out for PlayStation is that Resident Evil 3 Remake is 50% off this week, or at the end of this week, so make sure you hit these sales before Tuesday. It's $30. On Nintendo Switch, nothing too amazing. Maybe I missed something, but they do have the BioShock games on sale. BioShock Collection is $40.
Woof. The Switch tax.
Yeah,
I know, like, on PS4...
It's like $3.
No, it's like 50. It's like, I think the lowest was like $12.99.
Right.
Which is
like,
awesome. But yeah, it's on the Switch.
Is a
so
lot.
you play it for more, and it also looks worse.
Yeah. On PC, on the Epic Game Store, some games to call out is Metro Exodus, Outer Worlds, and Borderlands 3 are all 50% off.
Nice. Very
Epic
cool.
Game Stores does have free games. You just need to make an account. So that's super cool. The two games that are free right now is Where the Water Tastes Like Wine and Railway Empire.
I love that name. Where the water tastes like wine.
I think it's like a Western game. I haven't had a chance to look at it. I did download it, so hopefully...
Really?
I'll have...
Cool. Maybe we'll play after this episode.
Yeah. Maybe I'll talk about it next
we can
one.
boot it up.
Yeah. And then on Steam, we don't want to forget that, what do you call it? Some of the games that I think are good to call out is, Plague Tale of Innocence is 66% off, Greedfall is 50% off, and The Surge 2 is 66% off, which I think with The Surge 2, I think it's like $15.
Cool.
Which is not bad. It's a good game.
Awesome.
Anything?
Yeah, I think the VR sale is super cool. I don't have a PlayStation VR. I'm hoping... I've been wanting to get one for like the past few years, but I know the PS5 is going to come out. So I'm like, I don't know if they're going to
I'm hoping for PSVR too.
VR.
I don't know if Sam will let me get a PSVR too, though.
Yeah. So hoping for it, because I definitely want to dive into that more. I'm glad VR isn't just like a fad. It's good. They're iterating. They're making improvements on it. So I'm excited. That's another reason to jump on the Sony chip as well, right?
Yeah.
I think, Street Fighter 5, not these games of the month. I'm not very excited for. I mean, if you haven't played Street Fighter 5 already, I don't know, check it out. I guess it is better than when it did launch. The online connectivity is still not the greatest, but they made like unlocking characters and stuff way easier.
I know they did put ads on that game. That was weird.
Yeah, it was
a weird time.
It was a mess when it launched. It got such terrible feedback, and they're like, okay, we really reached for the stars here and we fell. So let's make it right. So yeah, they tried. May a little too late, but it's okay, I guess.
Yeah. Well, on that note, thank you all for sticking around for the second episode of Professionally Casual Gamers. We had a lot of fun hanging out with each other, and we hope you did too. If you have any discussion topics or questions, send it over on professionallycasualgamers@gmail.com or on our Instagram or Twitter @professionallycasualgamers. See you next week. Keep it casual.